Hello friends, welcome to ADO.NET tutorial. In this video, we will learn how to use DataReader object and fetch values using the reader object. So here we fetch the column name by ordinal position. We already worked with DataReader while using the method execute reader. So in the previous video, we talked about the SQL command, right? So we learned about different methods of SQL command: execute reader, execute scalar, right? And execute non-query. So when we are using the execute reader will give us the data reader, and from the data reader we will fetch the content row by row and we displayed it, right? We fetched the columns of data by referring the column name in all our previous video. Say for example, if we have the reader object, let's name the reader object as reader, right? Reader, then within square bracket here we specified the column name, right? So the named notation column name returns data by referring the specific column, right? So but the column name needs a comparison and picking the data from the rows of data, right? If this is the row and if it contains multiple column, let's say there are 20 columns, right? And when you specify column name, it needs to compare each column by the name. After that it will pick the data, right? So it's a character by character comparison. After finding the matching column, it will return the data. So using the string name here is convenient, but it has a penalty of matching the column name, and there are 20,000 records with 20 column. You can imagine how much the comparison will be. So that's why we say that this is less efficient. We can also fetch column information by ordinal position, which will be faster compared to data fetch by column name, right? So here it's an example for data fetch by column name. If you want to use reader, it will go like reader of, we will specify the ordinal position 0 and retrieve the value. Say for example, here you can see this is the command text which is picking 1, 2, 3, 4 column from titles table, right? So these are all the column name. When you want to use the reader object, you can always write reader of type to read content from here, right? Reader of type. Or you can also use reader of 2. So since it's a ordinal position, the comparison string based comparison is avoided here. It will just make the offset and pick the content from offset location 2, right? That way this will be faster compared to the column name comparison. So in this video we will fetch data by ordinal position, and if you look at the code here, from command objects command text we are setting the SQL string, job ID, that's one column, job description second column, right? Then here we are executing the command dot execute reader, which will return you the SQL data reader, and we are naming it as reader here. Then you know about this loop reader.read, and if there are multiple records For example, let's consider there are 3 records, and you know there are 2 columns, right? Column 0 and column 1. Column name is job underscore ID and job underscore description, right? In our previous video, we used reader of job ID, reader of job description, and when there are multiple columns, say 25 columns you are picking from a table, and the table contains 55,000 rows, right? So you will see a subtle difference when you are using the named column and when you use the ordinal position, you will see a performance benefit. When you use a named column, you will see a slight decrease in the performance. Here inside the loop, you can see how we are accessing the reader of 0. That means whatever is there in the first column, we are reading it, and we state that as job ID here, right? 0 will go and substitute here, then reader of 1, that will go and substitute here, and that's nothing but job description. Finally, here we are appending, we are forming the string, right, based on this ordinal position value, and we are appending that to our multi-line text box. So when we go to demo, that time you will see our form design. Our form design is simple. We will be having a form. In the top portion, we will be having multiple buttons, and in each subseries we will add these buttons, and towards the bottom we will be having a multi-line text box, and we will use that multi-line text box to display the result. Alright, now let's go to the demo. So here is our form design, and you can see we have 5 buttons for this subseries. First we will implement this specific button, read column by Ordinal, and when you are starting the new project, you place 5 buttons, then place a multi-line text box. That means drag and drop the text box control. So it will be available under the common controls. Place the text box. Once you place the text box, you can change the name as txt display, and check multi-line property as true. Also provide support for vertical scroll bar, and the other properties are not important. Then for this button control, set the name as cmd read by index, then set the text property as read column by Ordinal. Now let's double click here. So let's double click here, and you will be seeing private void cms read by index. So this should be cmd. Let's look at property. Instead of cms, it should read as cmd. Save all. So rebuild the solution and clear any error. So since we renamed it, we are clearing that error. So in your case, you won't see the error because you will be adding the button from the scratch. Since here I already designed it and made the correction, I have to make the correction in the source code as well. We will do clean solution once again and do rebuild, and you can see rebuild all succeeded. And first you have to include the namespace system.data.sql client. So as we did in the previous video, the same way you have to include this namespace. Then inside the click event, let's start using black. Create command for select query SQL connection equal to new SQL connection of property setting default pubs. That means here we have pubs connection, and for using black I'm opening and closing the parenthesis. Before we continue, let's look at the settings, because this is referred from the setting, right? We will go to properties, or let's go to Solution Explorer and bring up the property window. And if you see, this is the pubs and Northwind connection. So you can build the connection using the connection builder, which was already explained in our previous videos. So just click on this ellipsis, specify your server name, specify authentication, Windows or SQL Server authentication, pick the database, test the connection, and click OK. So here we named this connection as pubs, and another connection is Northwind. If you want to have new connection, you can go for new connection and pick a connection string here. Once you pick connection string, it will automatically change here as application. Once you click the cell, then you can form your connection string, and once you click OK, new connection string will be ready. Alright, now we have pubs connection string, which points to the pubs database. Then we have one more using a statement, and in that using statement, we are creating the command object. So we have connection. From connection, we are making call to create command, and this will give us the SQL command object. So inside this using black, we will set connection for the command, and then we specify the command text. Then we are opening the connection. All this stuff we already saw in our previous sub-series. Now after opening the connection on the command object, right, now command knows where is the connection. Connection knows the connection based on the connection string. It knows where to connect, and since command has a connection as well as the SQL query, we are making call to execute reader. Execute reader will execute the specific select statement and returns rows and columns of data. Rows and columns of data will get stored into this reader. Then we are forming the while loop based on this reader, and inside the while loop we are using the string.format, and from reader we are reading the data by its ordinal position. Here if you see 0, this 0 refers first column, and 1 refers the second column. At present we have 2 columns, right? So based on ordinal position we are referring it, and this will be efficient compared to writing reader of job underscore ID. So that's how we used it previously, right? So this is a convenient way of writing it. It's easy to refer the column name by its column by its name instead of ordinal position, but referring the value by ordinal position is more efficient than giving a name here, name in the sense of job ID. Alright, now we will rebuild the solution. So rebuild all succeeded. Yes, now we will start our program, and if you see, what we are selecting is job ID and description from the jobs table, and you can see the result is printed. So here we just used the ordinal position to retrieve the data, and the data is so this is the two column of information we are retrieving by ordinal position. Then we are doing the string dot format job ID, and that is displayed job ID, that is displayed here, and then we specify the ID number 123. You can see that. Then within the square bracket, right, we are providing the second element for the string format, which is nothing but reader of 1, and reader of 1 will be taking data from here, and that way we printed the content. So here we used the data reader and we read the value by its ordinal position. In the next video we will continue with it, because when you exchange the column name here, right, and we have to rewrite the ordinal position also, and so that's a maintenance task, right? So let's see how to avoid it from the next video, in the next video. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching.